You are sending a message that this is okay. You're sending a message to, the other security guards who work at the University Health Network, which is the largest health network in the country. This is okay. We will stand by you. You can crush somebody to death and we will turn a blind eye. And after the fact, we're going to continue to protect you.
It should go without saying that a person typically checks into a hospital in order to, get better. Sadly, this was not the case for Stephanie Warriner in May of 2020. Stephanie was a patient at Toronto General Hospital. The 43-year-old mother of 5 suffered from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and lived with a bipolar disorder. But Stephanie's stay at Toronto General turned into a death sentence for her after she had an altercation with a pair of security guards. They confronted Stephanie for not wearing her mask properly, even though she was en route to the hospital's cafeteria for a snack, in which case she'd have to remove the mask entirely in order to eat and drink. But the guards didn't care about that. They were seemingly hell-bent to teach Stephanie a lesson in mask etiquette. As the situation escalated, the security video shows Stephanie struggling to breathe. But instead of getting a doctor, the guards pushed Stephanie against the wall, then pushed her to the ground, and then restrained her. Fast forward some 16 days later, and Stephanie was dead. This is the tragedy of the story, but there is another part to this story as well, injustice, because everyone involved actually got off scot-free. Unbelievable. And joining me now for the latest on this truly grotesque story is Stephanie's sister, Denise Warriner-Smith. Denise, thank you so much for making time for us today, and my condolences regarding the loss of your sister. Denise, this story sounds downright surreal to me. Your sister wasn't looking for trouble. So why do you think these security guards acted in such a physical fashion to begin with?
I think that they were given the authority. I think they had a license to do what they wanted. I suspect that this was common practice. My feeling is that obviously they had a power differential over her. I just think this was perhaps lack of training, ego, and they just decided that they were going to extinguish her like a mosquito because they could.
And it's even worse than what I said in the preamble, Denise, because we know for a fact that another security guard who was not in the vicinity, who was in the control room where the video was being recorded, he purposely veered the camera away from the confrontation. This is staggering to me. This is akin to the fire truck fleeing from the burning house to go to a house that's not on fire. What's the story there, Denise?
I couldn't agree with you more. My feeling is that it's tampering with evidence. I think that he did that clearly to cover the backsides of his colleagues. He knew that what was about to happen, and he wanted to cover up from them. The sad part about it is that person still has a job at University Health Network. It's unconscionable. I can't, you can't make it up.
And Denise, I'm going over the testimony. The assistant Crown Attorney, Brent Kettles, questioned the security guard. His name is Kyle Bryson. And he asked him that very question. Why did you move the camera away from the incident? And here is his answer verbatim, quote, "I had really bad anxiety, and when I saw Miss Rojas go toward the patient, like run toward the patient, I guess you could say against the wall, I panicked. I blanked out. Things bothered me. I guess I'm not really a hands-on type of person. And I was my anxiety went through the roof and I just turned quickly. I didn't have any sort. I had a couple of moments to think about it, but not long enough," end quote. Denise, this sounds to me to be the words of someone who is clearly not cut out for the security business. He wasn't even involved in the hand-to-hand confrontation. He's in a control room, and the anxiety, the so-called anxiety that he claims he suffered, made him switch the camera. I don't know if that's true, if he suffers from anxiety, or if this was a case of CYA, you know, cover your ass or cover your colleague's ass, so that there wasn't any more incriminating video footage. What's your take?
So I think, and actually, as you read through that, it reminded me of my thoughts when I was listening to the testimony live. Was he's fumbling. He's trying to answer without, you know, putting himself in any negative light, and simultaneously trying not to throw his colleagues under the bus. That was my first thought. And to your point, my second thought was, you probably did have a bit of anxiety. You probably panicked because you know, you wanted to cover up for your colleagues. So that is true. He said, oh, he probably was watching and said, oh, whoops, they're going to get in trouble. Let me move this away. So I don't actually disagree with that. But there's a real difference between panic, you know, and let me stop there. If someone who's in a position of public safety cannot remain regulated, this is a person that is responsible for the safety in a downtown Toronto hospital. Toronto, one of the biggest cities in North America. This is who we have taking care of us.
Unbelievable, Denise. And, you know, but we must say there is plenty of blame to go around in regard to what happened to your sister. Mm-hmm. Justice Sean Dunphy, he dismissed charges of manslaughter and criminal negligence against the two security guards that were involved in the physical altercation. And what I don't understand is that we know there is video evidence of the altercation. We know there were eyewitnesses who testified, and yet Judge Dunphy says this is a big nothing burger. What do you think the judge was thinking in terms of coming to that conclusion, Denise?
I don't think he was thinking, if I'm honest. I think that that's another layer of gross abuse of power, because now this case stops. There is nothing else. These folks, as you said, have gotten away with murder, and you know, Justice Dunphy put in a silver platter for them. I don't know what he was thinking. You know, even in his summations, he made some reference to, you know, in his position, this was assaultive at best. And so why don't we just go with that? Because the last time I checked, assault is a crime. And so he himself, in his own words, was inferring that there was a crime. And so he ought to have put that before a jury.
And indeed, when it came to Ontario's Attorney General, that ministry, rather, they carefully considered the matter. That's their words. And they decided not to appeal. When you heard that decision not to appeal, Denise, what was your reaction?
Oh, I was sickened. It's despicable. You know, because not only in this case, but now you have handed almost like a green light, get out of jail card to every criminal defense lawyer in the province, because this is a dangerous precedent to set. And I would not be surprised if, you know, there is going to be many other cases where people are able to walk from their crimes because of what Justice Dunphy has established here.
And not only were the security guards not criminally, well, I mean, the charges were dismissed, I should say, but they haven't been fired. They are still gainfully employed at Toronto General Hospital. We reached out to Toronto General Hospital, their spokeswoman, Jillian Howard. Her comment was simply this, quote, UHN, University Health Network, will not comment on a court's decision nor on matters of individual employment of discipline, end quote. I'm sorry, Denise, that's not good enough for me. We have a publicly funded healthcare system. We are the stakeholders. We have skin in the game. You can't just say this is privacy. That's why we're hiring security guards who at best are incompetent or at worst are downright bullies. What do you make of the hospital washing its hands of this affair?
I think it's a very entitled position to take. And just as you've cited, I think that a lot of these folks have forgotten that they serve at the pleasure of the people. That is a very big missing element to this. And so, yeah, there are, to my understanding, there are some of these folks who are still employed at University Health Network. So what that says to me is you are sending a message that this is okay. You're sending a message to, the other security guards who work at the University Health Network, which is the largest health network in the country. This is okay. We will stand by you. You can crush somebody to death and we will turn a blind eye. And after the fact, we're going to continue to protect you.
It is despicable. That's the only word I have for it, Denise. And, I have to say, it's important to note that your sister wasn't looking for trouble. She wasn't wearing trouble on her shirt, as the saying goes. She was literally going to the cafeteria to have a sandwich. And just think about this. She was improperly wearing her mask, as the testimony goes, but had she gone a few more meters into the cafeteria, she is at a table with the mask completely down to ingest food and drink a beverage. We were always told, we're still told, follow the science. So was the science now and then that the coronavirus will not bother you while you're eating and drinking, but somehow you're going to get infected en route to the cafeteria? Denise, what I'm saying is it doesn't make sense.
I almost wonder if that's just not an excuse that they're hanging their hat on. I think what it really boiled down to is that was the excuse. And they were displeased with the fact that she wasn't responding to them quick enough. They had directed her to put her mask on. She was clearly unwell. You can see it in the video. She's breathing heavily. She's coughing. She was trying to catch her breath. And, I guess at University Health, or Toronto General Hospital, if you don't honor, the Gestapo quickly enough, that's what's going to happen to you. So there was no lawful reason for them to have surrounded and swarmed her and attacked her. The masking was a policy, not a law. She was not formed. She was not on a psychiatric form. And further to that, the context is that she had taken her mask down because she was unwell. Yeah. So it's an abject failure at every step of the way. The hospital, the legal system, the justice system, the crown system, all of it. They just failed, and they don't have to be held to account.
It's almost unbelievable, and I can only imagine the sense of entitlement these security guards have. To me, it looks like they literally got away with murder and nothing happened to them, and nothing. I'm just curious, have any of that trio, have they reached out to you or to Stephanie's kids and made an apology at least? Oh, no, not at all. In fact, my understanding is they feel quite righteous. They are quite strong in their position. They feel that that they did the right thing. It's almost they're standing behind some sort of hero complex that they were going to save everybody from University Health Network's lobby that day. Potentially, she might have had COVID, so they were going to put their capes on and save everybody. So. No, there is no offer of apology. Absolutely incredible. And of course, the news of the day and your story made the front page of the Toronto Sun. Our friend Joe Warmington wrote a fantastic piece. You're not ready to bend the knee quite yet, are you, Denise? Because the criminal justice system let you down. The security guards let you down. The University Health Network let you down. But you've got one more trump card to play, and that is to go after these people in a civil lawsuit. I understand you're suing for $16 million. Can you tell us a little bit about the claim? I've been very fortunate to have aligned with the Falconer's law firm, and they have provided me with really great emotional support, and they are handling the litigation. They're really the bright minds who are taking the lead on this. In terms of why I am doing this is because none of these folks are going to hold themselves to account. And it has been 3 years of hell, if I'm honest.
I can't tell you how much sleep we've lost. I can't tell you how much that we have suffered. The emotional injury has been catastrophic. And so it's not some sort of, it's an accountability piece for us, but it's also a duty and it's a responsibility for us to really shake some trees here and hopefully, if we can't send a message one way, then we're going to get it across another way and say, you cannot do this. You cannot kill people at will.
Well, Denise, it's funny, and I mean that in the perverse sense of the word. Your sister's death won't go into the books as a COVID-19 death, but maybe it should. It was the paranoia about this virus that ended up in the loss of life for your sister. That to me is clear. Denise, tell us about Stephanie. What was she like? You grew up with her as your sister. What kind of a person was she?
Yeah, she was my younger sister. She was my older sister. Like sisters do, we loved each other very hard and we disputed very hard. I protected her. She admired me. It was that type of dynamic. We had each other's backs. And so, she was, I was more of the conservative. She was a little bit more of the, loved nature, loved art, loved poetry. She was a very bright light. She really wore her heart on her sleeve. She was a really generous person. She was she was the type of person where often, I remember when we were younger, we'd get on the TTC and, the first few seats there are saved for, persons with special needs and elderly and women who are pregnant. And my sister would remind whoever was sitting there that they ought to get up out of that chair if someone under the category happened to pop onto the bus. So she was really a very selfless, humane person. And, she's the end of her life has come it's been a great sacrifice. And I just pray that, the silver lining is that there will be some, real critical analysis here of our systems and that there can be some change. This is actually not the last hurrah. There will be a coroner's inquest in a few years. So my hope is that there will, I understand it must be recommendations, but I pray that there will be a very public critical analysis.
I hope so too. I mean, nothing can bring back your sister, but we have to make sure that such a miscarriage of justice like this never occurs again. And by the way, Denise, what is the fate of her 5 children right now?
So just, they're one is a minor child who is with, that we've got a family plan and she is with a family and we all have access and she's doing very, very well. The others are adults and, everyone is struggling, definitely struggling. So, I'm doing my very best to protect them. My eldest nephew in particular, he's really quite emotionally paralyzed. So, I feel a great responsibility in so many regards. Even, my own children, loved Auntie Stephanie. My eldest daughter has cerebral palsy. My sister helped me with her all the time. I relied on her heavily for support. And so, it has been catastrophic at so many levels.
Well, once again, Denise, I look upon this story and it is with utter disbelief given the eyewitness testimony, given the video footage, and there would have been more had that one of the security guards done his proper job. It is a miscarriage of justice. Last word goes to you, Denise.
I thank you so much for your time and I thank you for your energy in lifting this story. I personally feel that Justice Sean Dunphy really requires either, a critical analysis and oversight, censure, discipline. What scares me is that this is the kind of person we have adjudicating cases. What else is going to go wrong? What else is going to come down the pipe? That's really scary to me.
Well, Denise, well said. Good luck with your civil lawsuit. Let's stay in touch in the months ahead. Let's follow this to the end. And I hope one way or another for you and your family, justice prevails. Thank you so much for your time once again.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, everyone.
Hey folks, I know you love it when Rebel News brings you the other side of the story, but it comes at a cost. We don't receive a single nickel of government funding from this Trudeau regime, nor would we accept it if offered. So if you can, please go to rebelinvestigates.com. That's rebelinvestigates.com. And if you're able to, kindly make a donation. My thanks in advance.